God, I've been stuck in traffic for ages. I'm on the E19, which sort of comes down from kind of Brussels to eventually I think it gets down to Paris. There should be windows so you can hear us, you know. I don't know what's happened. I think sort of police motorcycle or something has just went past, so I wonder if there's been an accident, but it's been a good, should only be a half an hour journey really, and I've been in the traffic for half an hour anyway, so I thought make the best of it. I'll have a little think about suffering. Yeah, I like to categorise things, you know, so I guess it's a bit like there's levels of suffering, isn't there? There's sort of, you know, if someone's had an accident down the road and they're smashed up, broke their leg or whatever, then I guess at the end of it, there's that physical sort of extreme suffering, and you know, you wouldn't say to someone, oh, you know, why are you suffering? You know, I mean, it's, yeah, I've got a broken leg, and until it gets fixed and I get some painkillers, there's not much I can do about it, you know. And I guess there's also a kind of mental suffering as well, which is, you know, pretty much at the same level, you know. Maybe you get some terrible news, there's been a death, someone in the family, you know, parents, maybe worse, you know, your partner, your kids, you know, and there's a real suffering that goes with that. But again, you wouldn't say to the person, oh, what are you doing suffering? You know, it's probably more difficult to deal with. You can't just give them a painkiller or put a cast on their leg. You've got to, I don't know, you maybe experience, you know, explain the grief process, and you know, people have this realization that it might take a long time, but eventually they'll normalize. But you certainly wouldn't say, oh, don't bother suffering, you know. You'd feel it weird if someone didn't suffer in that in that situation, you know. So then I suppose it comes down from there a little bit. You know, you have other physical pains. You know, you might have an ache or a pain or something. You know, and perhaps you do make too much of it. You know, you might wake up with a twinge somewhere or a toothache or something. You know, you can do something about it, but we also add to it by being unhappy and, I don't know, resisting it, I guess. You know, oh, why have I got toothache, and why is this? Why have I woke up with a sore leg? I need to, you know, got things to do today, and woe is me and stuff. And I guess in some senses you can, I don't know, you can develop an approach to kind of coping with it, a bit of resilience and stuff like that, I guess. And also it's fairly easy normally with those things to identify the root cause, you know. And much the same with the specific things on there. You know, you might have something you have to do with that you're not looking forward to at work, you know, a call or, you know, a deadline. And it's the same, you know, you would expect to sort of suffer a little bit, but you'd expect to be able to, I don't know, hopefully cope with it. And some people cope better than others, I guess, you know. And you with experience, you realise that you can sort of work around it, you know. But I guess there's another kind of suffering. I don't know. I guess the word for it these days is anxiety. You know, just there isn't something specific. You're just, I don't know, you're kind of unhappy or, you know, something like that. You know, and you know, sometimes it's got a physical cause. You know, the sort of, you know, people sort of, you know, there's maybe some sort of pain somewhere, and that you know, not massively, but it creates a kind of tension in the body, and that leads to some sort of anxiety, you know. Or it could be sort of subconscious, you just don't really know, you know. Perhaps there's something happened in your childhood, and you sort of, I don't know, you reflect, you know, it has an impact on you that you can't really see. So how do you respond to that? Do you, I guess, you analyse it, you think about it, you know. What's causing this? You know, there's nothing specific. What's driving it? What's the cause of it? You're perhaps feeling unhappy, you know. Perhaps it's the human condition, you know. Perhaps we're maybe not meant to be. We're not meant to be happy. There's lots of theories, isn't there? You know.
some people think it's the ego, you know, that when we're younger we develop these kind of defense mechanisms as we're you know into the real world, and these are our sort of coping mechanisms, and you know, and this you know generated originally, I guess, to protect ourselves, but now they kind of cause lots of problems. You know, when we're anxious about things. I mean, a classic one for me is I hate driving. I don't like driving at all. I can't really put my finger on why. I mean, first of all, I'm not a very good driver, you know, but you know, I don't know. I used to get car sick a lot when I was a kid, like, you know, was it something like that, or what, you know. Plus, I didn't learn to drive quite late, and I found it quite traumatic, you know. I felt a bit stupid driving, you know, doing driving lessons and things like that, you know. Most things had come easy to us, but I didn't find learn to drive easy, you know. But again, I think with most things, it's trying to get to the root cause of something, you know, and can you then do anything about it, you know? And I guess if it's, you know, something like, you know, childhood trauma, or it's just the human condition, there's not much you can do about it, you know. I like to reflect on these things, you know, when I'm stuck in traffic and things like that. I don't want to just sit. Well, here's a suffering, isn't it? It's very easy to get wound up when you're driving in traffic, and oh my God, why am I stuck in traffic? You know, why? You know, I've got things to do, but you know, there isn't much you can do about it. You know, you've got to sort of make the kind of best of it. Like, but there's certainly been times, particularly where I've been tired after a long drive, and then you get held up. It's not easy to be as sort of philosophical about it, you know. Yeah, I'll have to have another think about it, and maybe sort of structure my thoughts a bit better. I just thought I'd have 5 minutes while I'm waiting in the traffic. No sign of it letting up. Waze has given us a few options to come off, but I always find it just makes it worse, you know. I'm much more likely in Belgium and that to have an accident or something if I start going through little villages and stuff, so you just stick with the main traffic, like, you know. And never mind, take care.